session either standing or kneeling up on your knees, with your knees or feet slightly wider than your hips. Take your arms up in a Y, shoulder blades down flat and together, and then take the arms back behind you. So your shoulder blades are pulling down and together, and the arms are behind the back line of your body. So take care here that you're not overarching your back to get the arms back. So your body stays toned and upright, and your arms go back from the shoulders, so you're opening up through the chest. So shoulder blades down and together, and then the arms go back from the shoulder blades to be behind the body. And just breathe into the front of the chest here and give the chest an opportunity to open. Can you, after a few seconds, go back a little more with the upper arms, with the shoulders? Keep the shoulders down away from the ears, keep the back of the neck long. Just breathing and allowing the chest to open. So keeping the shoulders back here and keeping the shoulder blades down and together, bring the elbows slightly down so the elbows are in line with the shoulders. And again, keep those elbows trying to get behind the body, but make sure that the effort from the arm is really coming from the shoulder, so it's the shoulder blades coming together, and it's the chest that's opening as much as it is the front of the arm and the front of the shoulder. And breathe big air into the ribs, and then keeping the shoulders back, take the arms out now to a T. You should feel some stretching coming down the front and inside of the arms here, and that little bit of extra weight and leverage into the arms, just changing the position of the stretch through the chest. Again, keep the back of the neck long, focus on keeping the shoulders down away from the ears, and the arms back behind you, really coming from the shoulder blades. And again, keep the shoulder blades back, elbows come in now behind the waist, so they're tucking into the waist, but as you'll see, if your chest is opened, you should be able to get the arms more easily back behind the rib cage. And again here, keeping the shoulder blades together and the shoulders down, and breathing into the front of the ribs, feeling the opening through the front of the chest and all of the front of the body. And then you can release the arms, let them hang, and roll the shoulders back and through. So if you did that kneeling, come to standing, we're going to release the QL muscle, which is responsible for a lot of tightness and wonkiness through the lower back. So feet nice and wide, stable but not stretching, tuck the tailbone under, so you're tucking the pelvis. And then from here, keeping the pelvis tucked, take one hand and put it behind the head, and the other hand hooks up around the elbow. Pelvis stays tucked, and from here you're going to push the elbow back into the hand as the hand just wins to bring the elbow arcing up and over, lengthening that side of the spine. Elbow pulls towards the opposite knee, but the elbow pushing back into the hand, and then when you get down there, reverse it. So the elbow is just winning the tussle to push back up against the hand. About 10% resistance and a nice big long movement. Lovely. When you get back to the top, you can inhale into the ribs, tuck the pelvis again, and then exhale to go again. So the hand is pulling the elbow down, the elbow is resisting slightly back into the hand, and you're reaching up and over to really imagine lengthening those muscles down the side of the spine, and then reverse that movement. So the same amount of tension, but it's just that the elbow wins out on the way back up. And when you come back up to straight, inhale into the ribs at the top, and then exhale to go again. So keeping the pelvis tucked, keeping the pubic bone pushing forward, lengthening through that side of the back, and keeping that bit of a tussle going between the elbow and the hand. And for the last time this side, coming back up to upright. And you can release the arms. So maybe roll the shoulders here, just get yourself aligned, and let's get ready to set up to go on the other side. So the knees soften a little bit, tuck the pelvis, other hand behind the head, other fingers wrap around the elbow, keep the pelvis tucked as the arm tussle begins. So really coming up and over with that elbow, and creating that little bit of tension between the elbow and the hand, and tracing that up and over line back up as you come over. Inhale into the ribs at the top, tuck the pelvis, make sure the knees are staying soft, and again bringing that up and over movement, really feeling length through that side of the back, and reversing at the bottom. So using the body's own mechanism here to encourage those muscles to release. It's less of a stretch and more of a release. And go again for the last one. So lengthening up and over. That bit of tension through the elbow into the hand is what's triggering the muscles and asking them to release. And come back up to upright. Lovely. So releasing the arms, roll out the shoulders, and let's open up the front of the hip and thigh. So bring the feet back in and get stable on one foot. Lift the other heel towards the bum and push that hip forward. So using the hip here to push forward rather than pulling behind you on the knee. And trying to keep that knee in fairly close to the body, but it's more important here that we're feeling a helpful release and lengthening through the front of the hip. And it's a good opportunity to practice our balance with on the one leg there. And if you struggle with your balance a bit, then focusing on a spot on the floor can be really helpful. And when you're ready on this side and you can feel that the hip has let go a little bit and you're feeling a bit looser down the hip and the front of the thigh, you can release and set up on the other side. So get your balance and then push the hip forward, ideally using the glute and feeling yourself using the glute to push that hip forwards, and feeling the opening down the front of the hip and the front of the thigh. We'll go for another 10 seconds or so here, having a little practice of your balance. And when you're ready, you can release that leg. And come to stand now at the end of your mat. Get your feet around about hip width and check out your alignment. So just making sure that your hips are above your knees and your shoulders are down away from your ears, back of the neck long. From here, we are going to inhale, shoulders roll back and down, exhale to tuck the chin and roll down through the spine, letting the weight come forward over the knees and toes. Arms hang heavy, and then when you get to the bottom, we're going to walk the hands out. Now, not too wide here, keep them quite close into the body. Then lower the knees, weight forward over the hands, abs on tight, elbows in. We're going to lower and lift, and lower and lift. And one more, keep the elbows in and lift, and then lift the knees, walk the hands back in, straight legs, through a kind of downward dog, and then roll up one vertebra at a time. Slowly, 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 shoulders, neck and head coming up last. Inhale into the back and sides before exhaling to tuck the chin and rolling down through the spine. Forward with the weight over the feet, hands walk forwards. Keep the elbows in close to the body, abs on, knees down, and then we're going to lower with the elbows coming in and back, and lift, and lower, and lift. And one more, and lift, and then lift the knees, walk the hands back, collarbones reaching towards ankles, and then from the forward fold, curl up one vertebra at a time with control through the spine. Back at the top, inhale into the back of the ribs and the side of the ribs, exhale to tuck the chin, and roll down one vertebra at a time, arms hanging heavy, feeling the opening and lengthening down the back of the legs. Then here at the bottom, bend the knees when you need to, walk the hands out, keep the elbows in, hands relatively narrow to the body, abs on tight, knees down, weight forward over the hands, and then we're going to lower, bringing the elbows back, and lift, and lower, and lift. Doesn't matter how low, lower, and lift. Brilliant. This time, allow that press to continue all the way down to lie on the mat. Then from here, the toes are going to go long, the legs are going to reach long, the shoulders are down away from the ears. Get yourself aligned. Make sure those legs feel nice and long and that you feel straight. We're going to work the crucial lower back muscles, which we need to control the pelvis and work with the horse's movement. So rest the forehead on the hands, neck feels aligned with the spine. We're going to lift and lengthen each leg briefly to get them out as long as you can. Then when you feel straight, inhale to prepare. Exhale to reach the legs long, so long behind you that they lift. And then stay up to tap the heels to 8, keeping the front of the thigh up off the mat. 6, 7, 8, and then lower with control. Slow and full inhale to prepare into the ribs, then exhale to lift and tap. Going to 8 again, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower with control. Another slow and full inhale, and then exhale to lift and tap. Legs as high as you can, Keep the front of the thighs up off the mat, and lower with control. Brilliant. Now bring the hands out to jaw level. We're going to work the middle and upper back. Inhale to prepare. Exhale to lift the head, neck, and shoulders, and reach long as well as up. Push your pubic bone down into the mat, and control it back down. So we'll do one more like this, then we'll add on. So exhale to lift. Push the pubic bone into the mat and control back down. Okay, so now we'll add hands clasped behind your bum. We're going to add in the arms to up the challenge. Shoulder blades down and together. Inhale to prepare. Pubic bone down. Exhale to lift and reach back with the hands and lower with control. Inhale into the back and side of the ribs. Exhale, pubic bone down and lift, reach back with the hands and control it back down. Same again. Inhale, exhale the pubic bone down and lift, reach back with the hands and control it back down. Keep going with that rhythm. So inhaling to prepare, exhaling to lift, reaching with the hands, keeping the legs out long behind you. And again, exhale to lift and reach, and control it back down. Lovely. Unclasp the hands and take the hands back level with the jaw. Bring the feet closer around hip width. We're going back to the legs, so make sure they feel long and straight. Inhale to prepare. Exhale to reach both legs long and lift, and lower. Go with the breath. Exhale and lift, and lower. Exhale to lift, and lower. Great. Now let's add the last two moves together. So reclasp the hands. Inhale to prepare. We're going to exhale to lift everything up, reach the hands back and the toes away, and lower with control. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, it all comes up. Everything reaches, and lower. And one more. Exhale to lift and reach, and lower. Brilliant. Now the hands release. We're going to lift up into all fours to stretch out with some lovely cat stretches. So inhale to prepare. Exhale to scoop the abs and lift into cat. Hold. Feel the stretch through the back. You can breathe normally now. And then bring the bum halfway back towards the bum, to the feet. And you can add in the travers and renvers. So nice slow curls, taking the hips first to one side and then the other. Feeling the extra length down the side of the spine. Such a brilliant stretch this. So simple and so effective. And then come back to centre and back up to normal cat. And then bring yourself back into neutral. Brilliant. So let's work on our arm and scapular strength now. Brilliant work to help our contact. So take the knees slightly back from square. 1 foot lifts, get the knee comfy, take some weight, shoulders roll back and down, abs on, other leg reaches long, weight forward over the hands, abs on tight, elbows stay into lower, and lift, and lower, and lift, keep those abs on, use the shoulder blades to push. Brilliant. Take that knee down and rest back in a quick child's pose. Take a little breath here. And when you're ready, you can come back up onto all fours, roll the shoulders back and down, another 3. So set up the legs on the other side this time, weight forward over the hands, abs on to dip, and lift. Keep those abs on, keep those elbows coming in. 1 more, elbows in, shoulder blades push back, and push back into another child's pose. Big deep breaths here. Use your breath here, really feel it expanding the ribs, visualize it increasing the space between the vertebrae. And when you're ready, you can slowly roll the body back up to upright. Fabulous. So let's do some strengtheners for our hip and seat. We're going to work one side at a time so that we can be really precise about which muscles we're using. That's what gets us straight. So come back to all fours, abs on to keep you square and to stop the back arching. With the first leg, the toes are going to reach long behind, heel slightly in, toe slightly out. We're going to lift and lower. So lift to touch down. We're going on to 10. Keep that leg reaching long, toes reaching away, heel slightly in, toes slightly out, abs on to stop the back from overarching. You should feel some work into the lower back, but you want it to feel like it's controlled rather than crunching into the spine. Length through the leg, and that rotation to keep the little glute muscle switched on. Now come down onto the opposite elbow, other hand goes out slightly wider. We're going to tap the knee to the mat under the belly button, and then reach long up and back, tap under the belly button, reach up and back, and just keep going with that movement. So you should feel here the abs switching on to bring the knee in, and the glutes really firing to take the leg long and back. Really focus on that leg being long, and the toes reaching away. Try and feel elegant if you can. It will come if you don't. Last one. Lovely. And just let that muscle have a little bit of a rest now before we move on to work it a little further. So we're really isolating all of the little muscles around the seat here, which give us control over our legs, but also which hold the pelvis straight in the saddle. So it is worth it. So same leg reaches long and back, toes point away. We're going to draw small circles here with the toes. Heel slightly in, really aiming for sort of dinner plate size circles. We're not going to do loads. So we'll just reverse it now, go back the other way. And focusing on the control and the shape of the circle. 1 more. And release the leg back down. And go into a child's pose just to release off the back and help release off through that glute a little bit. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Let those muscles chill out for a moment. Feel the lengthening through the back before we set up on the other side. So coming around to the other side, we're going to set up on this side, come to all fours, get yourself square, make sure your abs are on, your shoulders are down away from your ears. And now the other leg is going to reach back, toes long, heel slightly in. We're going to lift and touch down, and lift and touch. So again, keeping the abs on here, but making sure you can feel the work get into the lower back, but in a healthy way rather than a crunchy way, and keeping that leg long. So really focusing on the length as well as the lift. Just go again, lovely. And then come down onto the opposite elbow with the other hand slightly wider. The leg's going to reach long away first, and then tap the knee under the belly button, and then reach up. Tap under and reach up. So using the abs to bring the leg in and the hip flexors, and using those glute muscles to lift the leg up and away behind, and really focusing on trying to keep that leg long and reaching the toes, reaching away. Great job. So just the last one. And fab, just release down for a second, just to give them a little bit of a break before we then reach away for small circles. So toe reaches away and dinner plate size circles here. Have all of that movement originating in the hip. It's not coming from the ankle. And reversing the other way. Focusing on control and shape. Lovely. And release. And come back into child's pose to stretch off through those muscles. We'll stay here for a good few seconds. Good few deep breaths. Just let everything let go. And enjoying that feeling of space that you're creating through the back of the body and through the spine. And then when you're ready, slowly roll the body up through the spine. Brilliant. So let's get into the back of the arms, the muscles down the back of the upper arms. Brilliant for our contact. This is where we really want our contact to originate, not so much in the bicep. So come over to seated and work your way so that your knees are bent with your feet flat, but your body is angled slightly back. Hands on the mat, fingers pointing towards the bum. Try not to have your fingers pointing too far out. Instead, have them pointing straight to the bum, unless that hurts your wrist, in which case you can take them out a little bit. Shoulders back and down, then lift into the hands, abs on. Choose your level by moving your bum either closer or further from the ankles. And what we're going to do here is we're going to dip and lift. We're going to 6, dip and lift. So really feeling the work into the triceps here. Also, you should feel an opening through the chest and some work into the upper back. And have a little rest after this one, so you can pop your bum down. Great, so these are the muscles that we want to really feel are active and working, not pulling, but of creating this heavy feeling in your elbows when you're riding. That's where what we want for our contact. So back up into the starting position, and dip, and lift, and dip, and lift. So try and keep those elbows pointing back behind you, not coming out. Try and keep the fingers pointing towards the bum if you can. And this time we're going to lift up and push the belly up towards the ceiling, push, 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 switch those glutes on to lift the hips, lift the hips, lift the hips, and lower back down with control. Brilliant, so come to seated, and let's stretch out the triceps, with one hand dropping down between the shoulder blades first, and the other hand helping it along. Give it a little pull there, just to increase the stretch down the tricep. And breathe into the ribs on that side, and then release and swap over. So really trying to let that hand drop down, give a little push to the elbow to help it along, and breathe into the ribs on that side. Let those little muscles stretch out a little bit, and release. Brilliant, great job. So some lovely work there for the full length of the back of the body, and some quite tough moves as well. So really well done, and I will see you in the next session.